we have a rainy season now. Why is there a spike in the sales of umbrella? An average man would think, yeah, I'm making more sales on umbrella because we are now in the rainy season. But I can put it to you that sometimes correlation is not causation. It could be that APC are having a rally somewhere. Currently, we still don't have the complete data for the last election.
But is that not what the National Bureau starts,
Yeah,
right? That is their job, right?
most data, according to statistics now, most data scientists were once a data analyst. We even have some kind of database that are designed such that even the seconds to which that data enter is going to, you are going to see it in your database. In January, I'm supposed to make 500k.
Yeah.
So you want to really probe and ask, okay, why am I making 300k when my expectation is 500k? So that is where you need the data.
Can you think of a scenario that you can use your skill to improve that person's business? Someone that sells something or someone that runs a school.
It is mostly based on transaction. Every business wants to make money. Even schools want to make money. But for business cases,
Yeah, and how it helps the average man.
so I'm a data analyst. An average man, as I said, keep records of everything they do. Let's say maybe they are running a business, even in terms of family, business transaction, different kind of things we want to do. So there's an information for everything.
Yeah.
So that information is what we put together, we collate them, and refer to them as data. Now, is there a need for you to know something about something you've done before or something that is going to happen? Or you are trying to just predict, okay, what might happen based on past history? Even in sports, the sport analysis where it's okay, when you check for head-to-head now, where you say, okay, this club has made this club for 10 times, they only lost one. So those kind of things help you guide and know, okay, what is going to happen. The data field itself now is divided into like periods. The first is the data analyst, the data scientist, and the data engineering. So now we now have more of AI engineers, we have machine learning engineers, but everything is still under data. So okay.
I'm seeing it like data analysis is the umbrella term for that particular line of work.
No. So data analytics now is the word. So when somebody tell you they are into data analytics, so they could be a data analyst, they could be a data scientist, they could be a machine learning engineer.
That's what I'm saying. So it's the umbrella term.
But that's the umbrella in data analytics. It's different from data analysis. So it's spelled with T-I-C-E. You understand?
Yeah.
A-N-A.
So anybody tells they're into data analytics, that means they could be a data VI or a data engineer. But if somebody is a data analyst,
what they are telling like they are to analyze data. Okay, let's say there's a certain trend that your sales or your income is following. Let's say for the year 2024. Let's say from January, you know that January is a month where you make, let's say, 500k. February is a month you make less, let's say, because the month is not complete. Then March is another month you make, let's say, 700k. So you already understood that pattern now. So maybe 2025 now, that pattern, that trend, you didn't get the same trend last year. You feel like, okay, in January, I'm supposed to make 500k at most or at least. So, but you are making something like 300k. So you want to really probe and ask, okay, why am I making 300k when my expectation is 500k? So that is where you need the data. Okay, what are the records you have concerning these transactions you have for this month? So where is transaction not coming in? Let's say you have 10 customers now, and that 10 customer is a must that they buy something from you. But for some reasons, the only way you can discover which one is not buying from you for that particular month is to make some, like, try and analyze and see, check, okay, which of the transaction is not coming in. Okay, this Mr. So person is not buying from me this month. Then you can now proceed to ask and make further investigation that, okay, why are you not buying from me? To understand, so that the following year, if it's January is the only time they buy, the following year you can be able to get them on board that, okay, my service is now better, don't be disappointed. If it's that maybe they were not satisfied with your service, it could be any reason. It could be that Mr. Lukman is not around in the country anymore. Then you need to know that you can just quickly look for the placements immediately now. That, okay, I need to look for someone to replace so I can make this amount.
Your general trend.
So it's still going to maintain, and you now decide that, okay, I know I'm making this also amount, but I want to upgrade. I want to improve in my skill. What can I do? So you can just look for similar customers that are buying stuffs and that you can just take from. So you can decide to do what you want to do.
When I think about the data engineer, they do a lot about planning for the future. How you intend to collect data. The most effective way to collect data that you want. Now, but for a data scientist, they work with correlations. That's, you say it was deep. It's a more technical job. Yeah. What kind of scenario would
would you need a data scientist? Okay, so the thing is, most data, according to statistics now, most data scientists were once a data analyst. So in most cases, when you see a data scientist, a normal full stack data scientist, they would be able to help you analyze your data set. They actually transitioned from being a data analyst to a data scientist, because now the common tool that you use as a data scientist is Python. You can decide to use R, but the common one, the most popular one, is Python language. So in a case where you need a data scientist is where you want to actually study the data. What am I saying in essence? If you are given a data as a data person, you need to understand that data, because there are different contexts to data. Let's say it's somebody that wants a school now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to administer a number to every admission, like every student that give admission to my school. Let's say that number is 8098. Like, let's say rounding number now. Let's say for a magic number. You would notice or understand that that thing now is looking like a number. Where the data science now really actually come in, they will help you define what you can store that data as.
If the admission number has BC 41523 and there are 1,000 students and all of them have BC, some will have AD. No, BC and AD is Jesus Christ before and after. Well, that's what's coming to my mind. If they have BC, this number, AD, this number, letters and numbers mixed in terms of when they're administering admission numbers.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to understand is it that inside that admission number now, say I am 125 because one, maybe I got admitted into the school in November. Maybe that is why there's 2 in my own. And then I got admitted from another state.
Okay.
And then maybe that is why there's 5 in my own. Is it that kind of thing that they encode into those big numbers when you
Yeah. So each school or each establishment deploy their own methods. Now, what you are saying now is you're already leaning towards data engineering. So they can engineer that entry in such a way that so that they can be able to like easily identify maybe the late boomers or the first comers, the first timers. They might say they want to use the dates of registration. I just take your first name and last name, the first letter that starts there. Let's say the initials. They just take it, and that's your own unique number. So that one now is the role of data engineer. They've already looked at this how we want this thing to come in. We even have some kind of database that are designed such that even the seconds to which that data enter is going to, you are going to see it in your database. Let's say for a particular transaction now, I can transfer money out 10 times one day. Do you know that the date is going to be the same thing? But at the time can even be the same thing, because in a minute I think I can transfer 2 times.
Yeah.
But the seconds can. But now that is where
okay, but they have to configure second for that.
no, it's not configure seconds. And what will now help you now is the transaction reference or transaction ID, which is going to be a unique identifier for that transaction. There's not going to be another type of it for that particular entry. You can't have the same transaction ID for different transactions. One customer can have a customer ID.
And it's a data engineer's job to generate that.
Yeah, yeah. But the study of all of that okay, we are confused. How can we do it that we don't want it that these customers, as they are making transaction, we don't want them to be showing us the same transaction reference, because we want to be able to differentiate on or trace a particular transaction by transaction. Then the data scientists will now come that okay, let's do it this way. Do you understand? Let's do it this way. Let's just have a unique identifier for each transaction. They are not going to say, okay, once you are tracing a particular transaction, maybe for fraud or for any kind of thing, they're just going to go and look for the transaction reference. On your receipt, sometimes when you pay for your bill, you will notice some of these things.
What I'm still trying to get, is the data science and the linking of scenarios.
Okay.
What you say they do in terms of it's only linking of scenarios that is the word that's coming to me now. But you said how they correlate, the science they deal with correlation.
Okay.
And I'm looking for an example
Of that,
how we can use
that correlation to solve a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I will give you an example. Let's say we have a rainy season now, and you are wondering that why is there a spike in the sales of umbrella? An average man would think, yeah, I'm making more sales on umbrella because we are now in the rainy season. But I can put it to you that sometimes correlation is not causation. It is not because we are in the rainy season, that's why you're selling more umbrella. It could be the APC are having a rally somewhere. Now, the kind of analysis that data science do, I don't want to go into the technical terms now, But there's a way they can also help you design your database such that when you can just, they can automate a process for you such that when you input a new data to it, it's still going to give the results for that particular data that you input.
But that is all to be a prediction.
It's just going to be a prediction. Let's say you want to know rain. Do you know this weather thing that we used to check on our phone and you just predict the rain and all of those things?
Yeah.
Those are one of the few things that
we checked it in tap water. Yeah, although the very good everything. Yeah, I would check, and one time it was saying, okay, it will rain to IP or be.
So they are mostly predicting things for you. Okay, what is going to happen? Am I going to make more sales by the year 2025? What is going to happen? Do you feel like, okay, which club is going to win the league based on the past history of how the league winners has been happening or how they've operated and the transfer markets, all of those things? You can give them all of those information, and they could just help you predict that, okay, I feel like with the way things are going now, Chelsea is spending a lot of money. They might be the next league winners.
So it is based on the weather app, for example, works based on data.
Yes.
It's based on something that has fed it.
Yeah.
That it will now say, okay, in the past, when this kind of wind moves here and this type of thing happens, usually it now rains in places like this.
Yes.
So because they have that data in the bank, when it's time to predict what the weather will be like in a place like this, they will say, okay, according to the data we have now, then this is what is supposed to happen this evening in that place as well. That is what the correlation is like.
Exactly, yeah. So except from some anomalies that might enter that they might not even see coming.
So if they don't have enough data,
they don't have enough. God bless you. Nigeria is really suffering from a lot of data. We don't have enough data. Let's say, for example, now, currently, we still don't have the complete data for the last election.
But is that not what National Bureau of Stats, yeah, right? That is their job, right? They are the ones that's supposed to be the hub of data that anybody's supposed to use for anything.
I put it to you now. If you check your phone and try and look for each result for each local government across
it's like let's say a random local government in Ibadan.
Hey, you want to know the presidential figures? Let's say how, yeah. So you can check for that.
So give me a random local government
in Ibadan.
Yeah, that's your state, right?
Check I think Akinyele or Oluyole. So you want to know when was the last election? 2023, right?
Akinyele local government residential
local government result for that particular local government. So most people by state.
Well, Ima,
yeah,
we'll give them more credit than we've been giving them before.
Let me see. I will know if the data is valid now.
Okay. I see that they say they put it stable. So yeah, check if Akinyele is there, because I just clicked on the link that showed me Oyo State, and inside Oyo State, there are the local governments are listed there with the data.
Okay, now see Akinyele. Yeah, Akinyele is there.
Okay.
The thing is, now, even this data is not something you say because you see it online, you feel like it's valid.
Yeah.
There are a lot of complications that come with data. Anybody can have data, but is that the valid data? Now, the data should be able to be accessible to everybody from the public things that we know. When you want to mention, where do you mention? National Bureau of Stats. When you check National Bureau of Stats,
it's not there. It's not from them. They're not even on first.
Yeah. The last time I did some analysis on the Ondo State presidential election, what I was able to get was their gubernatorial election, all the information. But for the presidential election, I was only able to get it by states. So I'm very sure if we start saying, okay, we want to gather data for some kind of things now, you would not get it.
What other problems would you say, what problem does a regular data scientist in this country face? Aside the major one, obviously, is trying to get adequate data. But is there any other problem that you find in carrying out your duty?
Yeah, okay. So the thing is, the essence of the existence of our job now is data. So if you don't have that, that means there's no job. So the job market is very, very, very difficult. If for data scientists, you have to be versatile, you have to be updated for you to be able to get gigs. And I'm sure that gigs is not coming from this country. It's if you have clients from abroad that trust you. Let's say you put yourself out on Upwork, on LinkedIn, you did a project and they saw it and they liked it and they said, Alpha, can you replicate something like this for me? So the job market is crazy here in Nigeria because we don't have enough data.
I have one final question.
Okay.
In terms of reward, this data analysis is extremely useful in terms of predicting the future and even investigating the past.
Okay.
In real-world use cases for a business, I like to use schools like private schools or somebody who sells stuff.
Okay.
What can you do for that person? Can you think up a scenario that you can use your skill to improve that person's business, somebody that sells something or somebody that, runs a school?
Okay, so for school, I can gather the data of how their competitors and operate, their strengths, their weaknesses. Now, this may look basic, but you are not just doing it based on survey, you are doing it based on the information that you have concerning their competitors. What do they have? How can you do it better? How can you improve it? Let's say for schools, should you spend more on advertisement? Should you try and reduce your fees as a kind of decoy to bring people in, and later on you can increase it? That is not left to the stakeholders to decide. I can give you those recommendations. Then for a business person, like I said, is mostly based on transaction. Every business wants to make money. Even schools want to make money. But for business cases, you want to make money. And you feel like, okay, something is wrong somewhere in terms of sales. In any business setting, there's always a target, right? So how far, why are we not meeting this target? Or have we met this target? How can we increase this target? So I can use data to like say, okay, let me use bakery as an instance now. We have a lot of bakeries now in this country. We have, if I don't want to mention names, we have a lot of them. So I can give you a recommendation that, okay, do you want to let's say decrease or increase the size of our bread and leave it at that fee, or you want to increase the fee and increase the size? Now it goes both ways. If your competitors are selling their bread for 130 and you are selling your bread for, let's say, the same 130, now why should I buy your own bread? You have to give them a reason. I can give you a recommendation that, okay, for every customer, at least for the next 1 week, add a butter sachet to your own bread. Now, so many people want to buy the bread because of that butter, even if they don't need it, but because they're getting that butter for free in that sense. And meanwhile, there's a way you will have subsidized for that butter fee inside that bread. And none of that is even going to last long, even if you don't subsidize it. It's just that, okay, you want to like, so by the time they stop that butter, at least for a certain period of time, they will still get addicted to that bread because of their taste bud.
But you're giving business advice. You're not telling me exactly.
Yeah, but we are data and collect. Yes, that's
What data will you collect?
okay. The kind of data we'll collect now, we'll check the kilogram of the bread that they have. See, something people don't, because I'm saying data does not really mean that, okay, everything has to be just data. Like, as a data analyst, I'm also a business person. I'm also a business analyst. If I want to function as a business analyst, I will function as a business analyst. Just that I'm using data to give you my own findings, right? As I must have
the knowledge of exactly what you do. You get.
That's what I'm saying. For example, now, how much is Boku Bread selling their bread? They are selling their bread, let's say 1.5, for instance. But why are people buying it? You deep dive into the flavor. All of these things are still information, and information is data. It doesn't have to be that.
Don't have to be numbers.
It doesn't have to be numbers. Numbers is just like, okay, how much do they sell in a day? Do you want to surpass, like, do you want to exceed that numbers they are selling? So all of these things are still data. Me, I know how to put everything inside, and so I see, as a data person, you can function as a research analyst, a business analyst, an healthcare analyst. Do you understand? Depending on the domain that you find yourself, like maybe you find yourself in health, you find yourself in business, you find yourself in IT, you find yourself in finance. You'll be able to, hey, you can also function as a financial analyst. Those ones now, that is strictly numbers, like just collecting information. Yeah, you collect information to solve business. So more than the really advanced way to use is just the tool we use sometimes. So those information the business person gather as a business person is just on the surface level that, okay, because you have the knowledge of what is happening there. But in my own case, I have to convert it into data and still give you the result to be sure that you are not just making assumptions or guesses.
This has been amazing.
Okay.
There's a closing tradition we have on the podcast where you give us one life advice, but you don't tell us. You write it in our book.
Thanks for having me.
Choose a page. Younger.
Young.